Let's start with some headlines. BYU's in the Big 12. President Shane Reese on Saturday out at the Stadium of Fire was talking to him. He went out and helped to give away tickets to some road games, and so we visited backstage a little bit, and he said his words were, you can feel the excitement all over campus. It's not just, hey, this is big over here in the sports building. It is all over campus, this move into the Big 12.
And I think BYU's promotions and marketing and all of that, sports marketing, did a phenomenal job this weekend. The fans wanted it to be a big deal. Obviously, they wanted it to be a big deal. And David Alamodova, and who's been on this show with us, and his crew provided the fans with what they were just looking for. So Friday night, they have this countdown to the Big 12. It was almost like Midnight Madness in college basketball, where the fans came out, and at the stroke of midnight, when it became official, they had fireworks, and they lit the Y, and they had music, and they had over 1,000 fans show up at midnight on Friday night to celebrate, and it was a big-time party.
It was I watched on the BYU TV app on my phone while I was watching the fireworks out my window, because I figured, well, we got to be on for 2 hours the next day. I should watch this so we can talk about it. And you can just feel the buzz. And something funny, we were at Stadium of Fire rehearsals earlier that night, and I was talking to the guys over there, and I go, hey, if you don't know, tonight at midnight, if you're still here at the stadium, there's going to be fireworks going off. I just want you guys to know they're not your fireworks. Because why? It's coming from the same area. If you're over there working on something, all of a sudden your fireworks are going off at midnight on Friday night, you're thinking someone broke in and set off the fireworks.
Something's going wrong here. This isn't good.
So we prepped them. But they were cool. It was a short show, but it was midnight, and we don't do that in Provo. That just hasn't happened, except for New Year's Eve.
And then I wondered, is that too much? You do a Friday night late, then are people going to show up for that big, I don't know what to describe it other than a giant fan festival on Saturday for 3 hours.
And they did. And it was hot.
They showed up by the thousands at the student-athlete building, out on the practice fields. They had all kinds of activities planned and live band. We did a live show there for 2 hours from 3 to 5, interviewed all kinds of coaches and players. And there was a tangible energy and atmosphere there that was really cool. And it was fun. We did some interviews where we found out, we've been talking about this on this show and on others about what programs are ready to move into the Big 12 and compete right away for championships, what may take some time. We discussed that in the show. And you can go back on BYU TV into the archives and look at that show if you want. But I loved having Jen Rockwood and our women's soccer coach, and Diljit Taylor, the women's track and field and cross country coach.
Amber Whiting,
the basketball coach. Having them on and talk about, along with Fessy Sataki from BYU football, Tom Homo, but Diljit and Jen, I love that they just confidently said, we've been playing at a national level with national relevance for a decade, so plans don't change for us. We still plan on being right up at the top of the national rankings.
They're not out looking for a whole new different player.
Right.
An athlete. They have the athlete.
It's business as usual. The one thing that Diljit said that kind of hit home with me was, she said, the one thing that this does for us is because the Big 12 is a little deeper, they're competing at a higher level more often during the run-up to nationals.
Right.
And so she says, they're right there competing for a national championship in cross-country this fall again. They will be, like they are every single fall, right? Along with the men's cross-country team. And she's saying during the rigors of the conference season, they'll be in more big-time situations where their athletes will have to perform under pressure, and perhaps they're a little bit more prepared for the big stage, and they do just a little bit better in nationals. Not that they're not one of the top 2 teams in the country already, but this, she says, maybe something will help them. And I never even thought about that day-to-day competition will help. They're already national title contenders, but a better league will help them. And
women's soccer is the first one out of the gate to play TCU, best team in the Big 12 last year against the best team in the WCC from last year, now meeting together as old foes from the Mountain West. But that's the Big 12 opener in soccer, and then women's volleyball is right behind that. And then a few weeks later, we've got football.
Remember, BYU came out of last fall in the Directors' Cup. They give you points for championships and all those things. BYU came out of the fall season the #1 overall program in the country. And they finished in the top 20 again, like they always do, overall programs. But fall is where BYU really shines with those women's sports. And Well, it'll be interesting to see now that they're in the conference. Are they still right up there at the top of the rankings after the fall season and Directors Cup?
Yeah.
I think they will be.
They got a shot. They have a shot.
Don't you love the candor of Jen Rockwood, the women's soccer coach? We asked her on that show. And
she's going to be on this show later in the month.
Right. But you ask coaches, what game are you most excited about in the schedule? Can you pick one out? And then we have a hard time.
Festies like Sam Houston.
Yeah, it's always the first game, right? They're all big. Every conference game is big. They give you coach speak. And sometimes when we get them on this show, we get them out here long enough, they'll go, well, I'm really excited about playing at Texas.
Right.
Or, but Jen, we asked her, and she immediately goes, well, TCU.
Yeah.
For first conference game. She mentioned a couple others. TCU, first conference game. They're the best team in their conference. We're the best team coming from the other conference. Right. They're both nationally relevant programs. Yeah, I want to see how we go in that one. She didn't make any bones about it. She just picked a game.
That's what I want to hear.
I love it.
I want to hear.
I love it.
I want to hear Kalani say this one.
Yeah.
But he's not going to. He's not going to say that one. But would love it if he did. But we appreciate Jen laying that out. Also.